Hello, everybody. This is Comic Book Hangover. It is Thursday, and it's time for another one of my comic book haul and review videos that I like to do every Thursday. And I've also got a small mail call to talk about this week. Nothing spectacular, just something that that I add to my collection, something I've been kind of sort of working on lightly here and there. I'll explain more as we get along to it. But before we do this. Let's get into some of the books that I got last week. There's really not a whole lot to talk about, but there are two books that I want to mention specifically. The first one is going to be Thor number 14. Now, I've said that I was planning on dropping this series after this story because, honestly, this series, if I'm being honest with myself, this series has not been very interesting or entertaining to me since it began. It's been basically playing off the hype of the writer and living off of his ability to have permission to rewrite Marvel history in order to get his new characters to fit into the continuity. And besides that, it really wasn't that good. Then they did this story here, this Prey, which wrapped up. And after reading this issue, I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt, this title is now officially off of my pull list. This is the last issue of Thor that I'm buying. I already talked to my LCS, and it has been pulled from my pull list. So no more Thor. And the next issue of Batman, actually, Batman issue 108, is going to be the last issue for that series because after that, with issue 109, it's going to be going up to $6 an issue. And I'm not willing to pay $6 even for a book that I enjoy the hell out of. I'm not going to pay $6 for a comic book every month just because it has a backup story that I didn't ask for and didn't want, don't need, and will generally not even have an interest in reading. So there is a possibility now that DC once again is no longer in my collection as far as like a regular ongoing monthly book. Next week that may change, because I am going to be picking up Robin number 1. It's Damian Wayne. I will be picking that up next week. One of the variant covers kind of caught my eye, so I put in an order for that. I'm going to check it out, and hopefully Robin will catch my interest, and I'll stick with that. There is one. There is also that Batman Scooby-Doo. It's not proper DC canon, but it was a fun read. I mean, I did check it out. It was a fun read. Well worth getting, especially, as I said last week, if you have kids that like Batman or Scooby-Doo, or even both of them, definitely get it. It's only $2.99 an issue. The other book I want to talk about is the one that I was so super excited about last week. I even grabbed all the variant covers that my LCS had, and that is Darkhawk, Heart of the Hawk. This book, it's split up into 3 parts. It's a sort of an anthology book. So there's a story from Darkhawk's past, Darkhawk's present, and Darkhawk's future. So it's kind of setting up where he's going to possibly be ending up in a future storyline. It's so much fun, especially the first story where it takes place just weeks or even possibly days into his career as Darkhawk. A lot of references to Philippe Bazin and his wife. You see, not his wife, his mother, and his brothers, and his dad, and all these things. Even Savage Steel is in it. I'm surprised they didn't drop a Lodestone's name, but so much fun. It was so much fun reading. It was just like, back in the 90s when I started collecting comic books, and they were comic books. They weren't treatments for movies or TV shows. They were just comic books. We got them for fun. We got them for entertainment and enjoyment. It reminded me of that. And the best part is, at the end of the issue, there is the very last page. This is not a spoiler for the story, so if you haven't read it yet, this has nothing to do with the story. But there is a teaser in there saying that Darkhawk will soar again later this year, which means hopefully we're going to get a new Darkhawk series. I don't know if it's a mini-series or an ongoing series. I don't care which, as long as it keeps the spirit of Darkhawk and the tone. Even though I know he's no longer a street level hero, he's a cosmic character now. I don't care, as long as they kind of keep the basics of who Darkhawk is. Always one of my favorite characters. I've been with him since day one. He was actually, when I started collecting comic books back in the early 90s, this was the character that, because I got into comics, as most people know, through Ghost Rider. Now, Ghost Rider was a revival character. He was a legacy character. And then, the Infinity Gauntlet started up, and I got into like the Silver Surfer. I dabbled in the Fantastic Four and Amazing Spider-Man. But at that time, I really got into the Silver Surfer, and I really got an interest in Thanos and Mephisto and the Celestials and the Stranger and Adam Warlock and all those cosmic characters. It was kind of weird. It's like when I was really into Marvel, it was either the horror characters like Ghost Rider and Werewolf by Night and Dracula, or the cosmic characters like Thanos, the Silver Surfer, and Adam Warlock. But Darkhawk came along, and he was the first character that had no connections to any other characters. He was ground zero, street level. He was new. He was for the time. He was, I guess, he may not have been entirely unique, but it was fun watching the early part of his journey where he was trying to decide what kind of a hero he wanted to be. He wasn't sure if he should be more like a Spider-Man type hero, where he's trying not to hurt anybody but trying to save people, or if he should be like the Punisher, where he's putting people down so they don't come back. But a great series. I know he's the butt of a lot of jokes, but the bottom line is Darkhawk is a very cool character, one of my all-time favorite characters. I'm not saying that ironically or sarcastically, legitimately one of my favorite all-time characters. I'm super excited to have another one-shot, and I cannot wait to see what happens in the future with him, because it's been way too long since I've had a Marvel series that I've been really, really excited about. And if I can't get a Ghost Rider series and get one that will last, and if I can't have Ghost Rider even just regular, I think he's going to be showing up in Savage Avengers. So I may check that out, but I'll take Darkhawk. I've had Death's Head in the last year or two. I got Darkhawk coming up. Now we just need to do something with Sleepwalker, and I'll be super happy. Anyway. Let's show the books that I picked up this week. All right. Now this one, Stray Dogs, number 3. I love this series, but unfortunately, by the time I got to my LCS, all the regular covers were gone. So I had to settle with this one here. And I say settle because it's what is this? Annabelle, or part of that Conjuring series. And I am not a fan of the Conjuring movies. Not a fan of Annabelle. Not a fan of the Nun. Not a fan of any of that stuff. To me, it's so formulaic. It's by the numbers. Like the original Conjuring to me was Amityville Horror. It was almost step by step Amityville Horror. And I remember as I was watching, like, I didn't like this when it was Amityville Horror. I don't like it when it's the Conjuring. But regardless, I still got the book, and we'll be talking about that next week. There's something going on there. Next up, Radiant Black, which has now officially been added to my pull list. Super excited about it. Kyle Higgins is knocking it out of the park. And continuing from the Power Rangers Unlimited number 1, I think it's a quarterly series. Power Rangers number 6. Another sweet cover there. And I'm assuming this is the penultimate issue. I like that word, penultimate, but the second to last issue of I Walk with Monsters. Another nice cover there. And everybody knows I'm a huge Godzilla fan, so I'm going to get a Godzilla comic book. It doesn't matter, but this one here, this is the Godzilla Monsters and Protectors issue 1 from IDW. I got the photo cover. Now, for this entire series, I'm going to be getting the photo covers. I got to tell you, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit more next week, but I don't like the art for this. The art for this, how IDW can go from something like this, awesome, detailed, epic artwork, to this Hanna-Barbera style that they're using for this is beyond me, but I grabbed that. And finally, this one I got just because it was the cover. I'm not interested in the character. I don't know anything about him, but I saw this variant cover, and I am a fan of Elsa Bloodstone, so I had to get this Black Knight, Curse of the Ebony Blade number 2, Ron Lim variant cover, because it has Elsa Bloodstone on it, and she is awesome. She is a really awesome character. So, and I actually am going to be reading that one, because if she's in it, then I want to know what's going on with her. And so those are the books I picked up last week. I did send off a book at my LCS. I sent one off to get graded. So we'll find out in the next year or two when that comes back what kind of grade it is. It was all new Marvel Now .1. It's one of the first appearances of Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. I only bought it because it had Silver Surfer in it, but he's a small part in there, so it's money. It's a money book because of Kamala Khan, one of my least favorite characters. But she's around. She's here to stay. So if people are enjoying her, great. Let the people who love her have her. I've got plenty of other characters for myself. And so now what we got left is my small mail call that I got off of eBay, which was, surprisingly, I have only had one bad experience with getting books off of eBay. And it was a book that it was just like you see online, the horror stories. It was just in a regular envelope. No, this one came with no bag and no board. It was just in an envelope, and it was beat all to hell. So, but fortunately, the guy, even though he said what they all say, I've never had issues with my shipping methods before, he still refunded it, and so we're cool. I'm just not going to buy from him anymore. But every other book that I've gotten off of eBay, they've come back really really cool. So these ones are some Marvel Age books. For some reason, I don't know. I like the Marvel Age series, just like Marvel Comics Presents and Marvel Fanfare. And I'm kind of doing this half-ass attempt at collecting the entire run from Marvel Age. So I do have the first issue. I have quite a few. I need to go through and find out how many issues I have. And I don't even know how many issues the series ran for. I just decided I want to try to get them. So in this mail call, I got Marvel Age number 23. Really nice cover there. I like that cover. Marvel Age number 24 with a lovely, awesome Gru cover. And these are great. I mean, the spines are real smooth. They're real sharp. The colors just pop on all these covers. And I mean, they present really well, as in the words of my good friend Cody Lockwood. So I got that one. And then number 25, this has a Gargoyle, Cloak and Dagger, and Rocket Raccoon on the cover. It's a holiday issue. So that's pretty cool right there. And number 26 says Marvel Age looks at Epic Comics Starstruck. I don't know anything about that, but it's still a pretty cool cover. Little role reversal there. Gotta love it. And then 27, this is talking about Secret Wars 2 with Jim Shooter. Nice group shot there. A little bit of everybody on the cover. Gotta love that. And this one here, number 28, with a really sweet Bill Sienkiewicz cover. I'm going to say Sienkiewicz. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but not one of my favorite people. I'll be honest with you. He is not one of my favorite people, most because of his attitude towards certain fans on social media. But he's a hell of an artist, and this is an awesome cover. This was pictured in the post on eBay, but I got to tell you, in person, it looks way better than it did in the picture. This is an awesome cover. I didn't think I'd be that much into it, but man, I keep looking at that, and that is awesome. And finally, Marvel Age. This is actually the one that got me to get this lot. Like I said, I'm wanting to get all these, and I'm working on them slowly. But this one here, this is Marvel Age number 31. It's got a really nice Nightcrawler cover with some little mini Nightcrawlers in the bottom. But this is also the issue where they preview the Thundercats book that Marvel had coming up at the time. So since we're pretending that previews count as first appearances, which they don't, but since we're pretending that this is the deal now, then I guess you could say that this is the actual first appearance of Thundercats in a Marvel comic book. So we'll just go with that. But that's what I have to talk about this week. So I thank everybody once again for watching. And before we wrap this up, if you're enjoying my videos, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. So yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel. There's a notification button down there somewhere. You can hit that if you want to, get the updates on the videos as I do them. I have gotten a couple of new subscribers, and once again, time just kind of got away from me, so I didn't get to make note of the names, but you guys know who you are, and you gals know who you are, and I just want to say thank you very much for subscribing. Thank you very much for your continued support for my channel. We are at over 130 subscribers now, so we're on our way to 150 subscribers, which is pretty cool. So again, thank you for watching. I will see everybody next week with another batch of comic books, and we're going to be talking about this Godzilla thing. Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So we'll talk about all that next week. So everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy your books. Hopefully you got a great stack of books this week. It doesn't matter what they are. As long as you enjoy them, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what the secondary market says about your books. It doesn't matter what the speculators say about your books. If you like them, that makes them worth everything in the world to you, because that's what matters. So I'll see everybody next week. Have a good weekend.